Welcome to Radio Fixer's channel. Subscribe for upcoming videos. This radio was donated to me, built in Inglewood, California from 1950s to 1970s in both tube and solid state variant. I highly suggest going back and watch other episodes regarding this restoration where we took the cabinet apart and fabricated the missing part, restore the entire cabinet, and also troubleshooting the chassis by bridging capacitors and resistors to identify the problem area. Also testing and replacing capacitors and resistors as needed. Test power cord polarity and install polarized cord. And we successfully troubleshoot and repair FM section. In this episode, I'm going to focus on troubleshoot AM section as well. I will add all the product that I'm using in the comment section of this video. Feel free to check them out. Let's get started. Enjoy the video. Somewhere in the bottom, there's a subscription button. Go ahead and select that, and also there's a bell. Select that bell so it notifies you whenever I upload new video. Put your thumb up. What this does, it notifies other people they enjoy this hobby. All right? I appreciate you. Now that FM is working, now I need to focus on AM to see why AM is not working. So next, I guess what I need to do, check to see if all these solders are okay or not. I mentioned in my other videos regarding transistors, the best way is, to test them. There's two ways you test them. One, you get your phone like this, and you zoom in like that, and I start checking all the solder joints. You're looking for solder joints that maybe is not being soldered correctly. They call it, I believe, cold solder. So that is how I check one by one. Of course, I'm going through it right now fast. So that's the first way you check to find out if there is any issue. So that's the first thing you do, right? Then second thing I do, you get a wooden stick like this. Then I go over each one and I tap it when the radio is on. Of course, the radio should be on. You don't want to touch the radio right now. It is not on. So you go just tap it. As I mentioned in my other video too, one by one. And if there is any issue, you will notice it. Sometime, by tapping it, you see the station comes on. You do the same thing other side, as you saw what I did here. To figure this out, you could just go tap everything like that, every resistor, but you don't put it so hard to break things. Just you're looking for shortage. Let's assume you touched one thing and the radio came on. That's the issue, right? Then you go underneath and you solder it. After you find which one is causing issue, then I touch those area. Let's assume was here. I touch that area, melt that solder again, and then turn on the radio. Of course, when you use the solder, your radio should be off. Okay, I forgot to tell that earlier. The radio should be off when you're soldering. Do not leave it on. Okay? So hopefully all this is going to help you troubleshoot transistor radio, because for most transistor radio there is no schematic, especially for novelty radios. So you need to really do all these tests to be able to find the issue. Hopefully this will help you. Of course, this goes in. Let's see it locked. Make sure it is locked. Then of course this screws goes back here. Then I'm going to finish soldering this thing and get it done. And be very careful with this antenna. And of course this solder right here, and the other wire solder right there. I'm going to use my single tracer and also single injector to troubleshoot this radio. Alright, I set this on AM station, and of course I hook up the single tracer that I built, which I suggest very highly to watch the video. This is really good one that it came together pretty well. Anyway, setting this up, of course, through the computer speakers. Again, that video explained how to hook this up. You have several options. Let's see if I can pick up Signal's AM station. I did the same thing for FM station. Here I'm going to first go to the volume control right here, the center of volume control. See a lot of hissing sign, no station. To ground, of course, nothing going to happen. Then the other side, no station picking up. I made another video that I suggest again check it out regarding how to test the volume control and hook up Bluetooth to volume control. May put that also up here for you. And again, I suggest to watch this. It's going to really help you if you want to set your radio to be able to perform on Bluetooth. Anyway, no sound here at all, volume control. We're going to go back to where the switch is. This is where the switch, you change from AM to FM. Then, see again, hissing sound. So we know the audio is working, but I want to know, if there is any signals coming in. I'm going to try different location. Nothing. Of course, I went through that board. I touched all the pins underneath, and unfortunately there is no sound at all. Okay, what I'm going to do next, let me show you. I'm going to use my Signal Injector to be able to inject signal into the radio, because the single tracer cannot find any station at all. So when that happens, I'm going to use the other one. Let me disconnect this and get back with you. Okay, I already hooked up the ground to the chassis. So you have option, as I've shared with my video, use Bluetooth attached right to here to the Bluetooth, or using any type of radio as long as 3.5 millimeter jack. Alright, let's turn on the radio. Let's say it's working, right? So I'm gonna hook this up. Now let's inject this into the radio. Now we're gonna go to volume control first. I'm gonna touch the center. Wow, it's working pretty well. Let me turn this thing down a little bit. Okay, see, that works. So again, I'm injecting to see what area is working, what's not working. Okay, so if I go to the other side, the volume is pretty low. The reason is low because I have to adjust the volume from here. You see that? No, it comes out of that speaker, of course. So when we inject signal to the volume control, as you see, the radio is working. Now let's backtrack. This is where the switch is. Okay, let's touch this one. Nothing happening. Oh, you see now? This work here. That's working as well. When I inject signal to the radio, through the switch it works, through the volume control it works, but without that is not working. What that tells us, something else is going on before switching from AM to FM. I don't have the schematic I mentioned earlier. If you have it, feel free to send it to me, please. It's so hard to figure it out this way without the schematic. If it's just AM, it's not a big deal, I can fix it right away. you know, but AM FM is a little more difficult. Let me put it on FM because we fixed FM. Let's see what that's going to happen.
Seating rules empty. The fan's been asked to move underneath, out of harm's way.
Okay. We're going to turn this thing down a little bit. Okay, this is FM. I put it in a sports station. They don't kick us out. The YouTube. So I'm tuning it better. Okay, now that's a sport. This should be music. Let's say by injecting this, what's going to happen? You see, no signals. Okay.
96.1 WEJZ.
You see what happened? Huh. There is a pen right here in this switch. The area that I'm touching right now with it, when it said on AM, was working. Remember when I was touching these pens? Now when I said that's FM, I touch it, it doesn't work. Any of them that before it worked. But there is another pen all the way back there. When I touch it, you see, now it's actually playing radio. I have to show you quickly. You hear that? So, you see? Alright, if I put it in AM, now I switch it to AM. I'm going to touch the same pen. You see? So this one and that one for AM, this one and the other one, this is FM transistor. That's a FM because when I touch it, nothing happened. You see, by injecting signals, if you don't have a schematic, you start figuring things out. So if I set this in FM, let's check that transistor. You hear the music and also FM work together. So that is definitely the FM. That transistor. Because as soon as I touch the center, I think that's emitter. Yeah. Do you hear? Is a mix of both. The signals of both radios. Okay, I need to document this. Then I can actually follow those wires to see where they're going. Man, again, if you have a schematic, please send it to me. Make my job simpler. Alright, let me work around this again. Do more tests like this to figure out what's going on. Why FM now is working, of course, but AM. Alright, let me check these things out. Let's test the oscillator with another radio. This is going to be the other test. I have an old radio like that. Just put a couple of battery in it. I do have the back to see if the oscillator in this radio work. Alright, here I put everything close to each other so you can see. As I mentioned, this is AM radio. I set it pretty close to tuning condenser. This is where the tuning condenser is. And the tuning condenser here is right here too. I'm putting them pretty close to each other. Now I'm going to turn this radio on. Turn it up so you can hear it. Now I'm going to adjust the tuning condenser in this one under the radio, under the test. I want to make sure this radio in AM station actually oscillating or not. So I will show you what that means. Let me turn this thing up. You see? Now I'm going to change that. You hear the noise? What really that means, the AM oscillation here is working the oscillation section. It oscillates there is nothing going on this section. Okay, next test, I'm going to use my multimeter to check the AM antenna. As you see, this radio is already unplugged. What we're going to do next is another test. That's once a while, the antenna get damaged, and that's why the AM is not working. So we're going to test to see if the antenna is okay or not. I set up my multimeter on sound. So this is set on sound. So what we're going to do, I'm going to test 3 connections that the antenna is hooked up to this. There is 2 sets of wires, one right here, another one is a little small one right here is over the other one. Between them there is literally like a insulation. So I'm going to touch the first section. I assume this is for the large section. We're going to put this in the green right here, and the other one right there. You see, that's working. That means this section is fine. And now we're going to test the other section. So between here and here is working. Between here and there is working. Now let's just say between here and there. That's also is working. So that tells me the antenna should be fine. So the oscillator was working. The antenna connections are fine. The board section is okay. What else? What else? Next, I think we're trying everything under the sun to figure these darn things out. And this is a single tracer I'm using is iQuote 330. Again, the reason I'm not using that much because I don't have enough space on my desk. So what I did when I purchased this, cable was missing. So I put something like this together, and I put here a capacitor. I used 103K is a 0.01 microfarad. So I installed this here. When I test the equipment, this is already installed here. I don't need to worry about messing up the signal generator or the radio. Just want to share this with you. I'm going to turn it on, put it in RF. The light, as you see, is on now. Everything's set. I set this in high. Also, I put this in high as well. Now number B, which you read right there, is a 450. Inject signal into radio. First, I'm going to start right here. That is on that board. There is little wires out there. You hear it? Okay, so we know it sends signal. Now let's go where the antenna is. I hear it, but it's very, very low. Adjust the volume to see if that's going to change or not. Yeah, volume all the way up. Okay, you hear the noise from the speaker? So I'm injecting signals into the antenna, and you can hear it in the speaker. Everything is working. Why AM is not picking up? So I checked the antenna was okay. From antenna, the signal goes through the entire radio. FM worked pretty well. This doesn't make any sense. If you have any idea regarding this, feel free to add it in the comment section. Since I don't have a schematic, it's pretty hard to tell. So let's see what else I can test. Alright? Let's stop here. I don't want this video to be too long. I guess the next episode I'm going to spend more time try to do troubleshoot. Unless you guys have some other suggestions. Maybe I'm going to spend some time to figure out all the transistors in this radio and hopefully put everything back together. So stay tuned for upcoming video. At this time, I want to take the opportunity and thank my subscribers with their uplifting comments. You always encourage me to upload more videos, since this is just a hobby of mine. Again, I appreciate you. Enjoy all these videos, and you all have an awesome day. Take care. If you're interested to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe to my channel, and you will be notified when a new video being uploaded. You have a great day.